Imagine a civilization built on the rhythm of the wind. For 1,000 years, a necklace of wealthy cities stretched down the coast of East Africa, from Somalia to Mozambique. They were not conquered by emperors. They were built by merchants. They built palaces out of coral reef point 2. They dressed in silk from China. They ate off porcelain from the Ming Dynasty. And they spoke a language that is now the most widely spoken African language in the world. While Europe was in the Dark Ages, these cities were the brightest lights in the Indian Ocean. Welcome to the Swahili Coast. The Swahili Coast wasn't a single empire like Rome or Mali. It was a collection of independent city-states, Lamu, Mombasa, Zanzibar, and the greatest of them all, Kilwa. What connected them? Two things, the ocean and the wind. They mastered the monsoon winds. From November to March, the winds blew ships from India and Arabia towards Africa. From April to October, the winds reversed, blowing them back home. This reliable schedule turned the East African coast into a global waiting room. Merchants would arrive, stay for months, marry local women, and trade. This fusion created a new culture, Swahili, a blend of African Bantu roots with Arab, Persian, and Indian influences. For a long time, colonial historians tried to steal this history. They looked at the beautiful stone ruins and said, Africans couldn't have built this. These must be Arab colonies. They were wrong. Archaeology has proven that these were deeply African cities. The people were African. The language structure was African. The ruling families were African, often claiming Persian ancestry just for prestige, much like European royals claimed to descend from Troy. They were the middlemen of the world. They took gold and ivory from Great Zimbabwe in the interior. They took iron from the mainland, and they sold it to the world. In exchange, they became fabulously wealthy. If you want to see the peak of the civilization, you go to Kilwa Kisiwani in modern-day Tanzania, Point 6. In the 14th century, this was the New York City of East Africa. The famous traveler Ibn Battuta visited Kilwa in 1331.7. He wrote, Kilwa is one of the most beautiful and well-constructed towns in the world. The whole of it is elegantly built. The sultans of Kilwa lived in the Husuni Kubwa, a massive palace complex with over 100 rooms, octagonal swimming pools, and indoor plumbing. They minted their own coins. They dined on Chinese porcelain so fine that archaeologists are still finding thousands of shards of it in the dirt today. Think about that connection. A plate made in a kiln in China, carried across the ocean, used by an African sultan in a coral palace. But wealth attracts wolves. In 1498, 3 ships appeared on the horizon. They had red crosses on their sails. It was Vasco da Gama. The Portuguese were looking for a route to India, but when they saw the wealth of the Swahili cities, their mission changed from exploration to piracy. They were shocked. They expected savages. Instead, they found cities that were cleaner, healthier, and wealthier than Lisbon. Jealousy turned to violence. In 1505, a Portuguese fleet led by Francisco de Almeida attacked Kilwa Point 10. They didn't want to trade. They wanted to dominate. They bombarded the coral palaces with cannons. They looted the gold. They burned the archives. The stones of coral were shattered by the iron of Europe. The delicate trade network that had lasted for a millennium was smashed in a decade. The cities were burned. Kilwa fell into ruin. The Portuguese stranglehold destroyed the economy of the coast. But they couldn't destroy the culture. The stone walls crumbled, but the word survived. The Swahili language didn't die. In fact, it spread. It moved inland, carried by traders and porters. Today, Swahili is not just a coastal dialect. It is the official language of Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and the African Union. It is spoken by over 200 million people. 11. Every time someone says Hakuna Matata or Safari, they are speaking the language of the coral cities. The ruins of the Swahili Coast stand as a ghostly reminder of what was lost. They remind us that Africa was never isolated. It was a central player in the first true global economy. Long before the internet, long before airplanes, the Swahili people proved that you could build a civilization not on conquest, but on connection. They built bridges of wind across the sea.